Yeah, look at that. Hey, what is up,
Yeah.
everybody? Welcome to the Football Boot Hour with an intro that worked this week and I didn't mess the tech up. I am joined, of course, by my co-host, as always, Andrew from the Lockhart's Boot blog. But all of you should be able to see right now that we are also joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Cam from Power and Precision, and also the Boot Collection, depending upon where you know Cam from. Probably both. Thank you for joining us, Cam. How's it going? How you doing?
Yeah, no, all good, thank you. It's nice to be able to do something and talk about football boots, because being on the sideline for a bit, it's nice to be back in that conversation, even if it's not on the pitch.
I think that's the first thing we should cover off. We will go through all the normal stuff this week, like the what's released, what we've been wearing, and we've got all of your questions for Cam. So if you're joining us in the live chat, please get your questions in for Cam. We will cover as many of them as we can. But firstly, you are obviously sidelined at the moment, and not with a small injury. Like, you are pretty well crocked, my friend. What's going on?
Well, yeah, I managed to rupture my Achilles playing football in Portugal. And I've done my YouTube stuff for like 10 years, 11 years, and nothing had ever happened. And this just happened, little freak accident in a game. Wasn't even like doing anything malicious or intense, just pinged. And I'm on the sidelines.
Ouch. How much longer are you out for?
Well, full recovery is 9 to 12 months. So I've got about 8 months left, minimum.
Ouch. Well, yeah. we wish you all the best, and
thank you very much.
Hopefully you do get a real solid recovery. Obviously, I know these things can take a lot of time. Yes. I think, like, Andrew, have you done an ACL or an Achilles? No, you've done a. What did you do?
My leg.
Oh, that was it. There you go. Nothing, just something minor. Yeah. There we go.
It wasn't too bad. Just walked on it for several weeks because my school didn't want to pay the money for me to get an X-ray.
Oh, mate.
Ouch. Yeah. Ouch.
Also, freak accident. Just made a clean slide tackle and the guy's boot followed through my leg.
Oh, man, that's rough.
Yeah.
Painful. Yeah, I think the worst I've done is I did my patella. Did the patella tendon, and that wasn't fun. Like, so yeah, that's probably the worst one. But that was actually playing lacrosse, because I used to play lacrosse, not football. So I did that playing lacrosse at
this is a lacrosse hour, James.
I was playing lacrosse.
Keep your lacrosse stories to a minimum.
The minimum. I think I've mentioned it twice in history ever. Anyway,
once is too many.
Yeah, probably. Clippy is in the chat. Welcome. Thank you for joining us, Clippy. So let's jump straight into our ranking, shall we? What we've been wearing this week. So I'm going to pop the tier list up on screen so everyone can see our lovely tier list.
Popped up. What came out this week? You mean?
So, hold on. I can't hear a thing. There we go. It's fine. So our tier list is great, good, meh, bad, and awful. We are just going to rank them. Where do we want to start? Andrew, do you have a particular pack or boot you want to kick off with?
Want to start with the array?
No worries. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Hold on. There we go. So these dropped this week.
No, that's the old one, James.
Is that the old? Come on.
That's the old one.
God damn it. Are you sure? Because
I'm 100% sure the stitching pattern is different.
I put an awful lot of time and effort into trying to find the right one.
The stitching pattern is different, mate. I'm sorry.
Because I thought on the old one, the Athleta branding was a different color. It was like blue.
Oh, it's your picture-in-picture. You can use it on top of under tabs and windows. Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, so I've messed it up, but it kind of looks like that. I told you I get something wrong. I get something wrong every week. Cam, what are your thoughts on the Athleta Array, which just released this week? There should be a new one, but apparently I've paused it and it's not that one.
I'm going to be completely honest. Never heard of the brand. Never seen these ever.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be unbiased here. Like, they look pretty standard, but are they made of leather?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, they're already going to be in a good tier if they're made of leather for sure, because it's becoming less and less popular nowadays, especially with the mainstream brands. So it's off to a good start for me.
Yeah,
Okay. You're on Team Andrew with the leather love.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
This is like, okay. One of the things about these boots is they do have a tendency to fit pretty wide out of the box, which is even rarer right now. But what I'm really excited for is coming soon. They have a new synthetic boot that looks ridiculous. Like, or it doesn't look ridiculous, but the upper is absurd. Like, think like grip knit, but
Okay.
like done in a different way. So
I am absurdly excited for those. The pictures look fantastic.
Yeah. It's really weird. Like a couple of the brands here. So Athleta it's a Brazilian brand, but their Japanese branch produces a lot of boots. And for some reason, like back in December, they're like, "Oh, hey, by the way, just have our whole catalog of everything that's coming next year. No secrets here." Yeah. So I'm excited for those. But yeah, these I'll put these in good. Their boots tend to wear very well and fit really good. Noah Kavanaugh absolutely loves their boots because he's got a wider foot. So yeah, we'll put it in good.
I am also down with good. I think good is a good place to put them. They look nice, and if I had the right picture, they kind of look like that. It would have been fine. I tried. What do you reckon, Cam? You okay with good?
I'm happy with good.
Let's do it. Okay. It's the ranking system is a democracy. We can't. Everyone has to agree, or we have to like come to a compromise. That's the
does lead to interesting stuff.
Yeah, sometimes. Okay, so moving on. Is there a particular boot that you would like to look into that released this week, Cam? That's something that caught your eye that you think we should rank first?
Can I show it?
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah.
There we are.
I was wondering if you're going to pull those out.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up with the Vapor 4 was my first model, so this was a bit before my time. But I'm a huge Cristiano Ronaldo fan, and I know this was the first boot he wore in his debut. So, it's not perfect because it's not 1-to-1, but I think because Nike do very limited sort of releases for these remakes, it's got to be up there.
Yeah. Well,
how are you finding the enormous heel? Because I didn't get the chromes, so I haven't actually tried it. I've only seen the pictures. Is it that bad, or is it just aesthetic?
I think it's aesthetic. I mean, look at it. It is when you compare it to what it should be, which is like that. It's definitely not the same when you look at it. But I think the main thing Nike spoke about is that performance-wise, this is much better. Like, this is comfortable. You're not going to get blisters. And it's got the fly touch upper, so it's not the 1-to-1 remake, is it? But it would have been nice if they could have just pinched it there.
Yeah. I see. I'm completely okay with the change of upper material and everything. I think that makes sense. But I just think they needed to get that shape right round the heel, just to kind of pinch it in that little bit and really give it that, vapor feels, etc. It would have been nice to have something with an actual external heel counter as well. I think that's that faux external heel counter often on an off color kind of sole plate just looks a little bit weird. I obviously understand why they did it. Their current Vapor doesn't have an external heel counter, but it would have been cool to have something that actually ran up into an external heel. I think that would look cool. But it is a cool looking boot, and they are a cool release, and we don't get too many remakes from Nike, so I do like them. I did order a pair. They just haven't arrived yet because apparently it takes me 20 years for anything to arrive in Ireland, but they are on the way. So are you like thinking top tier here, Cam? Are you really sold on this idea of the Ronaldo Cinder Vapors?
I'd probably go second to top tier. I don't think it's perfect, but I think it does tick a lot of boxes. And as a collector, it's obviously going to hit the nostalgia checkpoint as well for me.
Absolutely. Andrew, where are you at with your disdain for both Nike and Mr. Ronaldo? What are your thoughts?
No, we can put it in good. I've worn the originals, and
that's because we're old and Cam's not.
Yeah. But the materials on this is way better. Like, if they did a 1-to-1 with the original, like, people wouldn't know. The heel obviously needs to be fixed, but the upper seems far better. So
Yeah.
I can put it in good. I like this colorway, so
It's a great color.
I am also down for good. I think good is a really solid place for this to go. Interesting that they've done obviously a much larger release with this particular colorway than they did with the chrome. So these were in essence really easy to get. I think they're still like available, a couple of sizes here and there that you can pick up. So these were not a difficult pickup for basically anybody that was even semi on the ball, which I like. I think it's a good. I think if everybody manages to get one, but you still basically sell out, you've kind of got your numbers right.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that's a very positive. We're gonna go with good. Matt Burns, so that's Burns Boots in the chat here, says the color's much better than the silver chrome in his opinion. I'm not sure.
That's a hot take.
That is a hot take.
Ooh.
You think so too,
You
Gam?
agree?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because you have the chrome, don't you, as well?
I do. I think the finish compared to like the original is better with the Dark Cinder than the chrome, and I think it's because they've changed the material and it's fly touch. Now you can't get that same finish.
That's a good point. Yeah. Those chrome ones in person are wild too. Like the originals. Yeah.
Mental.
So yeah, that makes sense.
Coming on our podcast with logic and this is a place of hot takes and ranting. No logic.
Yeah, right.
Oh dear. Okay, we'll move on from the Cinder Vapor, and I think we have to go to. We're speaking a lot here about silver and chrome and platinum goodness. Oh my word! Now I realize these are the rugby ones, but that was the best picture I could get. So this is fantastic, isn't it? Like, oh, Cam, where are you with this? What are your thoughts?
I've got the Alpha and Morelia Neo, and they're even better in person. They are even better in person. Like the silver and the little bits of gold accent are just really clean. And personally, I haven't got to wear the Alpha 2 yet, but I wore the first Alpha and I loved it. So I'm really excited to eventually wear it, but it looks fantastic. And I like that the running bird has come onto the toe now. I think it just looks fast.
Yeah.
It does look fast. It does definitely look that bit faster. I really like the Alpha in this. I think the Alpha and the DNA are like the standouts for me, but as a pack, this is absurdly good looking. Absurdly good looking. I'm assuming you're a big fan, Andrew.
Sorry to jump in. I was going to say, I really like Mizuno because they've actually done the same color across all the boots. You know, sometimes Adidas and Nike or Puma, you'll have a different. It's a pack, but they're all different colors. Like this is clean.
Yeah, you can tell they all go together. Yeah. Are we all going tippity top tier with this? I think this is this good? I think this is going to be one of the best looking packs of the entire year. I think it's going to take some beating.
We can put it top, but with a little asterisk because I'm pretty well. I love Mizuno boots. I might even pick up these chrome alphas, even though I had no intention of it. I've had a DNA before, so I'm going to skip them. But the pricing on these is absurd.
Yeah.
And for me personally, at this point, it's unacceptable. Now, I'm in Japan, so the prices are way cheaper here. So they're what are they, like 260, 280 or something like that in the UK now? 300.
£300, yeah, like £300, 340 euros.
God. Yeah. So for reference, the Alpha is £160 here.
That's insane.
Yeah. Like, I understand you have to raise your prices overseas because they're made in Japan and whatnot, but they don't need to go that high.
No.
Surely.
Yeah, Jack here in the chat saying he's seen the Morelia DNA at £310. Like,
yeah, see, that's just. And again, I think the Alpha is actually like 145 pounds, and the DNA is like closer to 160.
Oh my!
So yeah, it's just I don't know.
Trip to Japan, Cam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously.
We'll
Yeah,
be on the next
come
flight.
over here, bring a couple empty bags, and just load up.
Jeepers. Oh my god. Guys in the chat there, thank you for obviously jumping in. Keep your comments coming, and if you have questions for Cam, we will get to them shortly, or questions for any of us. We're all going to jump in. But if you've got your questions, get them in the chat. We have the ones that were given to us before, but if you have ones in the chat, please do drop them in. Okay, so we have a few more boots to go through. I dropped this one in just for fun because I saw it and I was like, hell, hey, why not?
The new
so
Kelme.
this
What's
is-
it called?
I was going to say, if you know what this is called, I'm going to be so impressed if you can do this off the top of your head.
No, it's not Momentum.
It is the Momentum. My
is it?
God, yeah, it is. The man is an endless bath of knowledge. Yeah, it's the new colorway in the Kelme Momentum. This is the best picture I could find of it. It's actually a really nice colorway. I really like the kind of gold and red. I have very little information on the actual boots themselves as to how well they perform or anything. But their kind of AG MG sole plates look really nice, and I think this is a really solid colorway.
Yeah, it's really good.
So we do a quick ranking on this one. Where are we going? I think this is good. There's second tier. Cam,
I'd say good.
yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, good is good.
I think we've got to give some small brands some love too sometimes, you know. So get them in there. Sorry, pardon me. Not a small brand, but a slightly obscure release for us because this is an Australia only release, or an kind of what's Oceania only release. I assume this is New Zealand as well. So it's
Prisoner's
the
Island.
the classic pack. So we've got the Menace and the Lethal Testimonial in brand new colorways, and it is classic, but I do think it's a little boring. Now, this could be because I'm a little bit in love with the that pink and purple Menace that they did for the launch, because I think that's phenomenal. I think they've done such a good job with that.
You would think that.
Of course I would, yeah. Because I'm a nearly 40-year-old man that has an obsession with obscenely coloured boots. But I think this is fine, but I'm saying it's meh. I'm saying it's mid-tier because it's just fine. What do we reckon?
Yeah, we can do that.
I mean,
What do you reckon, Cam?
I've never seen the other colorways, and I'm a sucker for white boots. So, like, to me, pretty dope.
Yeah, that's
But
good.
they are simplistic, which I won't argue with. Like, I think when a boot is limited to white and one color, there's only so much you can say about it.
I mean, if you want to fight for good, this is your corner to fight for good.
I was going to say, you can fight, Cam. you like, there is perfectly acceptable reasons to fight, like, to bump these boots up.
No,
we will listen.
I'm going to stick with you, boys.
Oh, well,
Okay.
I prefer white, black, red boots, so, you know.
This is true, yeah. Like I'm with you, Cam. Actually, white boots I love. White boots are it's like my favorite base color for any boot.
They're just clear.
I honestly think I'm just being look at those. I honestly think I'm just being skewed by the fact that I think the Menace looks boring compared to the other colorways.
Well, that's fair enough.
There's some love for the testimonials in the chat, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So okay,
cool.
Are we going meh or good? What's the consensus?
What do you reckon, Cam?
Go on, let's go good. Go on.
There we go.
Yeah,
okay, all right. There we
Yeah.
go. You've swayed me with swayed me with the white base argument. Next up, we have a boot that I love this. I think this is fantastic looking football boot.
Yeah.
So this is the brand new International Women's Day colorway in the Ida Rise. So this is, I don't have an image of it, but this is the first time that the company's ever put text on the sole plate of their boot as well. I think this is possibly the best colorway that the company has ever done. I think it's that good. I think they've done a fantastic job with this. So yeah, it's the Ida Rise. It's not actually a different boot or anything like that. It's an international women's colorway. Of course, Ida being a women's brand who make football boots specifically for women with their Women's Fit Plus tech. But I really like this. I think this is fantastic. Cam, thoughts?
Love the silhouette. It's a really nice shape of the boot. Because
Yeah.
again, this is the first time I've ever seen this brand. Yeah, again, white base, which I like, and I like the pop of colour, and the text is unique. You don't really get that, and dare I say it, I think Adidas probably should have taken some notes from this with their recent drop, because it is not great, is it, compared to this? So I'm a big fan of these.
Man's got a point. He's got a point.
I'm just saying.
Absolutely. Where are you thinking for ranking on this one? We'll let you go first, and we'll work
Alright,
off you. Where are you thinking?
I'll start us off at good.
Good. Andrew?
Yep. Take it. I'll take it.
Good. Yeah, I'm
Yep,
in
yep.
there as well. I think I
Awesome.
think it's a difficult week for anything to go above good if you're not a silver platinum Mizuno boot.
Yeah.
Because they set the bar very high this week. But yeah, they are good, and I think massive props to Adidas Sports for that one. Now, unless I have actually missed anything else this week, this is our last boot of the week.
I think that is actually it. Yep.
So this, I believe, is the last boot of the week. Do you know what I really like about this boot? I like the name. I just think the Copa 11 Pure is a really clever name. And it brings me a little bit of joy. Like, it's such a silly thing, but I'm like, you know what? That was
Yeah,
smart.
that's
I
good.
appreciate that. What are your thoughts on these ones, Cam?
Put them up there. That's what I'm saying. I love them, and I love the boot itself. Like the Copa's fantastic in my opinion. I think I went off of Copa when they first went laceless, and it was a bit. I felt Adidas were innovating for the sake of innovating, whereas now they've really honed in back on what that boot is in a modern like imagination, and then this throwing it back to that colorway was special. I mean, that little blue stripe along the toe box into the laces, it's so clean.
Andrew, are you also loving this, I assume?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the best colorway we've seen in this version of the Copa so far.
100%.
I think, and this. And like this picture, I pulled this picture specifically, not the one with obviously like the blue stripe running up the middle, because I think from this angle, like it looks wonderful. Like there's such a nice shot, and like you said earlier, actually, Cam, about the silhouette of the Ida boot, I think the silhouette here is really nice. I think this is a lovely, lovely looking football boot, and it is one of those where. It doesn't happen very often these days where I see a boot in a colorway. I'm just like, oh, it's just another boot or whatever. But I saw this one. I'm like, that would be a boot that looks good enough that I'm like, okay, I want that boot. Like I need to try that boot. I think it's really, really nice. So are we top tiering that one?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Top tier. We got some bangers this week. There we go. Okay. Well, that brings us to the end of everything that's come out this week, and I didn't forget anything. So, that's good going. And which brings us on to what have we been wearing? Now, Cam, obviously you are very injured. So I know you haven't been wearing anything, but have you got anything in this week? Is there anything that's kind of come into the Power and Precision offices where you're like, this is a cool thing that's arrived?
Well, yeah, I think I touched on it in the previous chat. The Mizuno boots dropped in, and I always get excited because Mizuno are very kind to me. They always send it to me a week before they drop, so I always get the early eyes, and I get to take some photos and see them. And do you know what? One thing as well, Mizuno, the smell out of the box is just beautiful.
Andrew says that all the time.
So good. So they came in, and again, as I said, I wish I could have wore the Alpha 2 because it literally dropped the week I got injured, I think, or the week before with that teaser colorway. And I think it might be a talking point later, but I do like the Puma Future 8 massively.
We need to have chats about this.
Yes, I know.
But so speaking of alphas and what we've been wearing this week, Andrew, have you got some boots?
Yeah.
Hey, look at that.
So I might pick up the silver ones at some point just to have, but so I ordered these, got the wrong size, and then I finally got the right size in. I think I might actually. I'm supposed to finally. There's been so much damn snow out here. I finally should be able to wear them next week, or no, not next week. Tomorrow. So
Nice.
Result.
Finally
Yeah.
get like your 6 feet of snow will have actually melted
Oh.
enough.
no, we're going next to the sea, basically, where it doesn't
Oh,
snow
I see.
as much. So I'll take those, and then I'll take these out too. Cam, you probably haven't seen these.
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful.
this is the Copa Icon 2, but it was limited to just one store in Japan.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's got like the store logo or the store name in here.
Very cool.
It's got it on the little egglets right
Yeah.
here as well.
White
And
gold
then
is so
it even
clear.
came with it even came with gold laces as well. So, and then
Very,
this is
very
a
nice.
Japan only sole plate too.
Nice.
Yeah. So
And
So
Andrew's
cool.
become the unofficial distributor around the world of those.
basically, yeah.
Because Ricky got a pair, you sent a pair
Ricky
over
got
to
a pair.
Mark at GCFC training. It's like everyone was like, "I want those." And
Noah's got a pair as well. So
Noah's got a pair. There we
Of
go.
course he has.
And yeah, what doesn't he have?
I know.
Although
Yeah.
you say that, we'll get onto your collection in a minute, Cam. Like
Yeah,
honestly, like there's you've got a serious amount of boots too.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Nothing unfortunate about it. You're in the right place. Is that everything we've got this week, Andrew?
Yep. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what I got this week, it literally arrived today. So what did I do this week? This week, I haven't actually really been testing much. I'm going to go out tomorrow. But I put out my review I did a converted sole plate review and I did a grip sock review. So I didn't have a specific boot where I'm like, this is what I reviewed this week. But what I did get that arrived today that I've actually been waiting for about 3.5 weeks to arrive is these. Because this is going to be a fun little review that I'm going to do. So this is the second tier takedown. Correct me when I'm wrong, Andrew. The second tier takedown of the on a Mizuno level, right? So this is the Monicida Neo Pro 3,
Yes.
which is the synthetic leather upper takedown from Mizuno. These are usually about 150 euros, kind of about 120, 130 pounds. And I managed to pick them up for 40 euros. There was like a huge sale. And I thought they would be a pretty awesome review because I've not actually seen anybody else do a review on these before. So I was like, you know what? Somebody's got to do it. Might as well be me, and
Yep.
especially for 40 euros. So yeah, I got these, and the place I bought them from, I don't know if you can see it because of the thing. They give you free personalization, and I'm a sucker for a bit of personalization. So they've got Boot Wizard down the side of them because I'm cool like that. But yeah, so that's going to be a review that I'm going to do quite soon. And as far as a boot at this kind of price goes, so far, I think they're pretty good. I think they're going to be a solid option around that price. They can't be any worse than the Predator Pros that I tried, that I was testing last week, that are also the same price, that are bloody awful. I also got yet another pair of grip socks today. Jesus Christ. So this is the company, Athletech, and these are the grip socks. So these are an interesting one actually, because I spoke to the guys who are basically running this company before they put the sock out. I actually had a chat with them. They're asking me kind of questions, various things like that, and I was kind of helping them, direct them in a direction. You know, I was kind of giving them some pointers and such like. And this is the first time I've got my hands on the actual product, so it's interesting to see. I don't know how much of my advice they took on, but it's cool that they sent me out a pair to check out after I spoke to them.
Absolutely.
So I've got to give those a little test as well. But yeah, that's me for this week. And I've got boots in my way. I can't see the chat. There we go. Yeah. Oh, Andrew's going to die. So.
Oh man.
So with that incredibly seamless transition, which was kind of awful, we will go across to the to the questions. So you guys have been sending in your questions to me all day on Instagram and on my Boot Wizard community page on YouTube. We asked you, what do you want to ask Cam about his collection? So to start with, I suppose, before we get into the questions, we should probably get an overview. How big is your collection, Cam? Like, how many pairs of boots do you actually have at this point?
So I don't have an official amount because I'm always buying and not tracking it, but I know it's in the region of 250 to 300. It's got to be.
That's
yeah.
That's impressive.
Otherwise known as reasonable.
Yeah, that's a completely reasonable amount of boots to have, I think.
That's the word I would use. The word that my mum and my girlfriend would use is ridiculous. But, hey, that's what it is.
The way I look at it is it's part of your job, right? Like,
of course.
You can't
need
just
the tools for your job.
Exactly. If you were a builder, they wouldn't stop you having like a drill and a trowel, and that you'd have to have the tools. It's your job. You've got to have the tools, man.
It is.
We are basically sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, like, you're spot on, and I think one thing for me is, like, since a kid, I'm ashamed to say it, but I'm a bit of a hoarder. So, like, when it came to keeping my football boots and hanging on to them, I did. And when I did start doing my football stuff back in the day, and I would very kindly and luckily get sent product, I thought it'd be disrespect to sell them or get rid of them. So I would naturally keep them for that incentive reason. And it just grew and grew. And, like, now it's like, it's something that I always collected, but I never really, I've got the knowledge, but I never put that to an audience as such. And when I did stuff with ProDirect, it worked well. And then now I've left, I'm like, well, I should probably talk about the pairs that I've got because I know a lot and I've been lucky enough to wear pretty much everything. So yeah, it's a natural one.
Absolutely. So that's so that obviously is, so obviously you were doing power and precision. That was like your main thing for a long time. And then the boot collection, which is your collection thing, that's quite new, isn't it? You've not been doing that for that long.
Yeah, that's right. I started it in December this year. I mean, this is strictly on TikTok with the whole like videos. So a bit of backstory. I set up an Instagram page for the boot collection where I just took photos of my football boots because power and precision used to be a 50-50 split of on-pitch free kicks shooting and my football boot collection, but sort of every time I got a new boot, I'd take a photo of it or review it or test it. And I made what I think is now the stupid decision of separating them back in the day. And I thought, let's have a page dedicated to this, which was great. But then I think my followers got a bit like, oh, where's all this football boot stuff gone? And I lost followers and it didn't really work out. And I sort of put it on the sidelines and still would, on my power and precision TikTok, occasionally people would be like, do you have these boots? And I would be like, yeah, let's go have a look and talk about them.
Yeah.
And because I left the job at ProDirect, I thought, well, it would be a good new stream to gain some followers. And I mean, I'm grateful that I've been able to test so many products, and especially at the job at ProDirect, it was like months in advance and learning all of the updates and technologies that some things isn't actually public perception or knowledge. So I just thought, like, let's lean into this and actually authenticate myself as the guy that's got those football boots rather than Cam from Power and Precision who takes free kicks and wears the new boots. Just streamline it a bit better.
Not just pretty face, huh?
Definitely not. To the pretty face bit, by the way, because I'm not.
But no, I love that. Like, and I love obviously the boot collection, and us, I'm sure Andrew would be the same. Like, we are that audience of yours that you're like, we've always watched and followed Power and Precision, followed you when you were at ProDirect, but the boot collection, obviously that's where you and I started chatting again more recently, was just because that was so focused on boots, and that's obviously our thing. Like, so it's exactly. Like,
yeah,
like this is Cam is kind of, as we say, one of us.
Yeah,
like,
100%, proudly.
So Absolutely. So yeah, no, I love that. So anybody who's
Yeah.
not following at the moment, TikTok, the Boot Collection, and of
Thank you
course
very much.
Power and Precision, absolutely everywhere. So we will go into the questions now, and I think the first lead on, the obvious one here, is related to some of your work with Power and Precision, and definitely some of your work with ProDirect, where
Yes.
somebody's asked, you've obviously met a lot of pros. What's the most interesting or surprising thing that's happened while you were kind of shooting a video with one?
Oh, and do you want an answer where it's revolving product or just the player themselves and like a funny or
Whatever you want to
Okay.
do,
Well,
both
I'm
if you
try-
fancy it doesn't matter. You're like,
Go on then. I'll well, first of all, I'm trying to think of some cool things. Sergio Ramos, he is a very intimidating looking man, would we all agree? From his
Yes.
reputation. I did a bit of research on him before, could not find him speaking a word of English, and he is fluent and absolutely lovely.
Really?
Yeah, I told him when I met him, I was like, "It's a pleasure to meet you, and like I love you because you're." I was a defender in my time, and I was like, you're a great. And he gave me like a big cuddle and was like, "Oh, thank you, my friend," and told him that I flew from London for literally 24 hours. We flew to Spain and back in 24 hours, and he literally said, "You're effing crazy, man," and I was like, "That's the job. Like, thanks, man." So he was. I think the term, he was a gentle giant. He was really, really nice. And I'm trying to think if there's like any like product related cool things. Bruno Fernandes plays out insoles. Doesn't have insoles in his boots at all, which I think is quite common with a lot of players actually.
Yep. Yeah. It's an old Brazilian trick.
Is it interesting?
Yeah. We used to have the store I worked at. We'd have a youth tournament every year. Sorry, don't want to side rail you. And a bunch of the Brazilian players would come in, get the boots, take out the insoles, and then put them on. And we're like, "Yo, mad."
Yeah, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. I thought it was strange considering that Mercurial is so light and thin, and
it's
even
always the Mercurial too.
Yeah, it's what, as in that's always the boot that people take the insoles out of.
That was always the boot.
Interesting.
That's weird. Yeah. Well, it's not like, it's weird that you take it out, specifically the Mercurial, but actually, so we've got a friend, Ollie Cooltas, the OC Boot blog, and he's a big advocate of just, if the boots aren't quite fitting you right, just whip the insole out and it'll be fine. And I've had a couple of pairs of boots recently where they have just been a little bit too tight. I'm like, I don't really want to go up a size. I like my boots to fit tight, but I'm like, I'm gonna have to go up half size, like to make them even usable. And I said this, and Ollie was like, just whip the insole out, mate. Like, it'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not wrong. Like, it works. Like, it actually, I was like, you know what, that kind of did the job there. Like, I prefer an insole, but for the right boot, I'll just whip the insole out. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
that's wild though, dude. Yeah, Bruno Fernandes doesn't wear insoles though.
You'd think they'd get him a pair of boots that was like lasted correctly, so he could have an insole in it, and like, maybe it's just a feeling he likes.
This is the thing that was crazy. So when we shoot with players, we provide the product from our stock, so it is a retail pair that you and I could buy. And on this one shoot, we did obviously bring the boots for him to wear, but Nike flew over from Europe, from their European HQ, and actually gave him, it was the Dream Speed 5, and they actually gave him his match prepped boots to wear. And we get there 3 hours before the shoot, and I've got a video, and I literally had them in hand comparing them. And don't get me wrong, there's some differences in material, but there was no difference in the interior with the sole. And first thing he did after he picked them up and he did all the shoot, and then Nike gave them to him, is he took the insoles out and left them. So like, he like literally, there wasn't any. I looked, there was nothing bespoke, or he just doesn't wear them. So
interesting. There we go. That is a perfect answer to that story, I think, on both counts.
Yeah.
Both Ramos and Bruno with the boots. I think that's a fantastic answer.
Ramos
Thank you
did
very
not
much.
seem like the kind of guy you'd want to go have a beer with,
Do you know what I will say about him? Is we were obviously shooting in Spain, and it was with Mizuno, and when he speaks in Spanish, He's got such a deep voice. It is like if he was your captain at Madrid, obviously, and he's screaming at you in the dressing room, you would put your life on the line for that man. And I say this in the nicest way possible, but I do believe Ronaldo, when he was like, he went from that and Chiellini to Maguire at United. It's not quite the same. Like that pitch of voice having a go at you in the dressing room. I don't know.
I think that is a fair assumption.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to let's start talking about boots. I definitely want to get to this. So this was actually asked by somebody else, and I've just tailored it to something that I definitely wanted to ask as well, which is it's the Puma Futures. So let's talk about the Puma Futures, the Puma Future 8. So I am a well-known hater of the Puma Future 8. Like I despise it with my being. I do not like that football boot. There's barely anything about that football boot I like. It upsets me greatly. Like that colorway is great. That is a lovely colorway. But as a boot, I hated it. However, as we've mentioned, I like to watch your TikToks. I follow the boot collection. And on numerous occasions, I've seen you break out the Puma Futures and be like, I like wearing these. Like, you know, they're great for shooting. They're not used, and you've even said they're not like something you would normally wear, but you're finding they really work for you. So the pitch is, can you convince me that they're actually good or not as bad as I think they are?
I'll give you a counter question first of all. Do you like any Puma Future models?
I don't like the Future 8. I don't like the 7. I did like the 18.1, 2.1. So those early NetFit models.
Mm-hmm.
And I like you've got a pair, I can't remember which one it is, 5.1. You've got the pair in the half and half colorway, the kind of like strawberry and like lemon sweet type color. I like that one as well. So yeah, there's a good few Puma Futures that I do like, but the last two iterations specifically, the 7 Ultimate and the 8 Ultimate, they upset my brain. Like I'm like, why are these a thing? Like, who designed these?
Well, I
will
be honest, 5.1, my favorite Puma Future ever, and I'm glad that when it was doing well, I'm pretty sure they then made it the 6.1 and very minorly adjusted it. And I like it when a boot is good that they keep it for longer than a year.
I agree.
Nice. Future 7 I liked. I think the Future 7 for me bled a bit more into an Ultra because it was a lot thinner. And I personally like boots when they are very different to each other. So like Adidas, I think have got a really strong lineup at the moment, whereas Nike are quite similar with the Phantom and the Merc. Like the Merc is a wide Phantom in my opinion. So the Future last year, although I loved it, I did think it was a bit thinner and it was probably heading towards an Ultra. But the reason I love this, now I've got wide feet, not excessively wide, not boat feet, flat feet, but I just have wider feet. And there's definitely a biased part to me because I don't play as much as I take free kicks. So something that's super important for me is the comfort and how it feels to strike the ball. I like that the lacing system is ever so slightly off-center. And it's the first boot that I can think of in, honestly, years that has padding in the forefoot that doesn't feel distracting or bulky, but it does, like, to me, it feels really nice. The only thing I could probably compare it to is like the Hypervenom 3 that had those AccuFoam pods.
Yeah.
It's a really nice sensation to strike the ball. And I did think they did take a bit of break-in. Like, normally Puma is pretty out the box, but I did have to break them in a bit because I got the white teaser colorway, which I absolutely love. But I think I dropped half a size and they were perfect for me. And I will also say this because I'm sure some people watching, and you guys might know, Puma are very generous and send me a lot. And I'm not saying this from like a biased standpoint because they look after me. I have said it quite a lot on my channels for a reason. I really like this boot.
Honestly, my opinion of the Puma Future, they're never going to send me any boots ever again. They've never sent me boots ever, to be honest. But no, I'm a huge fan of the Ultra. I think the Ultra is unbelievable. I think this is a fantastic football boot. I think the King is quite good. Like, I don't have a problem with it at all. I just hate that Future. However, I completely understand your reasoning, because the only positive thing I said in my review, and I'm not kidding, I think it was the only positive thing I said, was that I like those little pods that are under the top layer and on the mesh, and I like the sensation that they give you when you hit the ball, and I like the feedback. That was like my main thing, was like, I like that. What I said is I'd love for that to be incorporated in a different way. I don't love that kind of top material layer as an extra layer and things like that. But those little pods, I think, are really nice. So I have to hold my hands up and be like, yeah, fair enough. I see why you like them. Like, fair enough.
I think one thing with all the stuff I ever say is I always try to make it clear that obviously my opinion is based on my foot shape and my preference and whatever.
Of course.
And I also get everything you're saying as well. Like, I don't think it's categorically the best boot on the market, but for me it is one that I've always gotten well with Puma Futures, and I don't know why, but yeah, that NetFit 5.1 and 6.1, even without the laces, because I took the laces out just purely because I thought they looked cooler, they were brilliant.
Yeah, they were lovely, lovely football boots. They're a boot I don't have anymore, and I think I would definitely pick up if I could. If I found a pair like on sale, like a good price or something, I would probably pick up a pair of those. Like, they're good enough for me to be like, actually, I could do with a pair of those in the collection. Like, I think they're very, very good. So I've got a couple of questions just coming in on the chat off the back of that there. So I've got Andrew Palmer here has said, has Cam ever worn the Under Armour Shadow Pro? Which is an interesting question. So this is Footloose Boots, and he is a huge fan of the Shadow Pro line, particularly the Shadow Pro. He likes all of them, but I think particularly the Shadow Pro 2 and the current one, the 3, he's a massive fan of. So have you tried those?
Yes, I think Under Armour, I've only worn the Shadow Pro and the Magnetico. And the Magnetico was the previous generation that, funny enough, was the exact same colour as that Puma Future we're talking about, the split, like orange and white one, that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I, being completely honest, didn't wear them long enough to give a fair opinion. I think visually they aren't the most satisfying on the eye, which was sort of, for me, one thing that, with what I do, I just like to wear something that I think looks cool, and that's very particular to me. That's
completely
not
fair.
the boot. But I remember wearing them. I'm sure they were quite not padded, as in like comfortable padded, but they were just a bit more built properly compared to some of your
a bit more
thin boots.
substantial.
That's the word. But no, I'm not going to lie and say that they're amazing or they're not great, because I probably haven't tested them enough to give a justified opinion there.
There we go. Thank you very much. But yeah, if you get a chance, the Shadow Pro 3, I got a pair in recently, and the review's not finished yet. They're still getting tested, but I'm highly recommending them to anybody to give a go. Shadow Pro 3 is a really good boot.
Nice.
The other question here is from Proper Boots. The Future or the Power Cat? Like, would you have like a preference? Are you a man who wore a Power Cat? What would you go
Power
for?
Cats back in the day.
Is this a vintage thing? I feel like it's a vintage thing.
Do you know, it wasn't. it wasn't. I wish it was.
I have a pair of vintage Power Cats behind me, actually. Hold on. Hold on. Let me get. I'll get them. Like, they're actually his.
Cam, go ahead and while he's.
I think these questions, when you compare an old boot to a new boot, you've got to take nostalgia out of it. You've got to eliminate that and just talk about it from a performance perspective. I think I prefer the current one, just because I've grown to love that sort of knitted sensation, sock-like feel. But I am sorry to the OGs. That's nothing against the Power Cat.
So you see, they've got Vidic here, 15 on this side here.
Wicked.
They've got the custom sole plate on them, so this wasn't obviously the Power Cat sole plate. And you can see they're absolute boats. So for comparison, so That's like a UK 7, which is my size, and then that's the Vidic ones. But yeah,
What size is it?
I don't think they've got a size label in them. Oh, they do. They've got a sample label in them. 10.5.
Wow.
So yeah, 1.1. What are they? 1.12 SLs. But yeah,
yeah. I love the 1.12 cells.
yeah, they're a cool. They're a cool one.
Very nice.
That I have in the collection there. Okay, let's move on to another question. Let's do some that we can. We'll all chime in with what we've got.
Yes.
So, what is the most valuable boot in your collection?
Oh, are you guys going to start?
No.
No, absolutely not. I don't see. I don't think. Okay, actually, I know the answer to mine, and it's not that exciting at all. It's the Pred 30. That will easily be the most, like, with the largest resale value. It would be the Pred 30. I don't think I've got anything worth any more than that.
I'm struggling because I've got a few, but there's also a couple of pairs where I think this might be an exclusive that no one really knows. I'm about to say now. So Sergio Aguero had a Puma 1 made for him when he broke the hat trick, scored the most hat tricks as a foreign player in the Prem.
Is that the white and blue one that came in that like clear box?
I've got them. And
wow,
I think there's like 10 pairs made, and
I was going to say that there's about 10 pairs of those. That was like the advertisement.
Yeah, the story was Puma sent them to me before he broke the record, and were like, he's going to break the record. We've made these. You can make some content, whatever.
Oh my
God.
I
did all of that, and they were like, yeah, you can keep them. And I remember ProDirect posted, this was before I worked there, but they were like, yeah, they're going on sale soon, like sign up. And they never ever got sold.
Exactly.
And it was one, just went completely under the radar. And I did speak to some people at Puma at my time at ProDirect, and they said, well, Aguero had like 3 pairs, and there was maybe 5 or 6 pairs that were seeded to friends of Aguero or people like me that like to create content. So I think they might be to the right person because they're signed as well. I met him whilst at ProDirect, and I was like, please sign them. So I've got them, his own boots signed, and they were completely different to the retail version as well, which is really cool. They're definitely one of them. If not, it's got to be like Mercurial Carbon SL or Ronaldo Rare Golds, something like that.
Nice. No, those Agueros are class. Like I remember that exact thing happening because I remember seeing it. I remember being like, everyone like, okay, you need to sign up and all this kind of stuff, and then it just didn't happen. It was just wasn't a thing. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
okay, cool.
I was really questioning like, can I post about them because nothing came out, and I was like, oh, is it being dropped? Is it not? Coming out.
Is it a thing?
Yeah, they are very real, and they're tucked away in the cupboard somewhere.
Andrew, have you got any?
Not really. I almost picked up. I remember when the Carbon SL released, and it was like, I was talking to a buddy at my store, and they were on ProDirect, and I was like, should I get these, man? They're kind of crazy. And he's like, yeah, you should get them. And I was like, all right. But this is like how long it took limited editions to sell out back in the day. Like, I was like, I think I'll sleep on it. And then the next day, they still had enough pairs to where I was like, I don't know.
What?
I eventually didn't get them, but, you know, I should have. Because they were like 300 quid at the time. And it's now like, I found another pair recently. It's the guy's wanting over 2,000 euros for them. So it's like,
Eesh.
Yeah, it's mad.
Yeah, but it was a different time. It was a different time back then.
It really was.
So I've actually got a question in the chat here, which is also one that I got asked that's on the list. So we'll just combine them together. This is from Clippy. It says, "What are you choosing as a game day boot? Obviously, if you weren't injured," and it's exactly the same as a question I got here, which was basically your if you have to pick one boot, it can be current generation, previous generation, like it's a big game, you need to, it needs to perform. What are you going for?
I would probably Phantom GX1, Puma Future, probably just the current one because I love it. And maybe I also love the Predator laced previous generation 24.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Great boots.
Shouts.
You know what? And I think it's interesting, and I think it's interesting that all of those boots are like quite recent. I think that's like telling, because I would feel in a very similar way with a lot of the boots. If somebody was like, "Oh, go and grab a boot that you need to wear," it would be something that's from the last kind of like 3-4 years, something along those lines. Because
Yeah.
I really do think we are at a point where we've got some of the best boots that we've ever had have started to come through. So I completely see that.
Another pair
Andrew,
I would
you-
also
oh, so
call
go-
out.
Oh,
Sorry,
fine.
I think I'm slightly
No,
delayed.
no.
I'm so sorry when I talk in.
Oh, you're fine.
Skechers SKX01.
Really
That's a shout.
Look,
interesting.
I'm not going to beat around the bush. They're very similar to the Phantom GT,
The GT, yeah.
but
Yeah.
they're way more comfortable, and they're a bit tighter, which I like. Like they feel a bit, just hug your foot a little bit nicer. So I love them.
There's a shout.
I mean, the thing is, we're huge proponents of them. We get a lot of questions. It's like, I'm a midfielder. What should I wear? I'm like this, blah, blah, blah. Just wear what fits your foot first, and then go from there. So, like, if you got something that works for you, like, go
Without
for it.
doubt.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's 100% always the message. If it's comfortable, it fits well. It doesn't matter if it's elite tier, if it's club tier. It doesn't matter if it costs you £500 or £10. If it works for you and you like it, rock it, wear it, feel good,
Yep.
go play.
Yep.
It
Yep.
does
Yep.
not
Yep.
matter. Like, that is the key. Andrew, I'm assuming your answer to the boot you'll always go for is one that you would have to hand right now. There it is. That's the
Hey.
Adler Yatagara shoe, the standardized answer.
Yeah.
But
So
a custom
this-
Yatagara
Yeah,
shoe.
it's
No,
like
that.
it's my customs.
Wow.
Yeah, so Cam, I don't know if you know this. This is a company I work part time for. They're a tiny, I mean, like less than 20 people, Japanese company.
Wow.
They hand make their boots, completely kangaroo leather upper, but they've got a little nice surprise. They've got this material called Carvo, which is what's in the Alpha.
Oh, look,
No
So-
way.
I got some too.
Yeah. So even though this is like a classic style boot, yada yada yada,
Mm-hmm.
still got some snapback.
Brilliant. Love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
They look awesome as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're
So
great.
mine are the synthetic leather variation, but they're essentially a very, very similar
same
boot
thing.
to Andrew's.
Yeah.
They're just, one is synthetic leather, which is mine, and Andrew has the K leather.
Amazing.
But yeah, they're absolutely phenomenal. I have them around during the podcast at all times because the chances of Adler getting mentioned is
We
like
mention it quite a lot.
it's impossible to avoid. It's always going to happen at least once during the podcast. Somebody is going to mention an Adler boot. But yeah, so that would obviously be yours, and mine is quite clearly the Adidas Nemesis.
Of course. Of course.
The absolute elite level of me being like, wear what you like, screw what everyone else thinks. I love this boot. I am going to wear it till it dies. I will find so many pairs. But yeah, so Nemesis would be my.
Do you know
My
what?
choice,
There
of
is
course,
one
the
other
19
pair
Pro.
because of what you just said with the Nemesis. I wore my Nike Premier Ones, triple white, for
Mhm.
2 or 3 years, taking free kicks to the point where like they were split open, and I taped them up. And I've got all the boots I had. And seriously, I would continue wearing them because they were so comfortable.
Yeah.
That Premier, I think that the Premier, especially like that first one, I think is the
Special.
best iteration of
Yeah, it was incredible, and they're so hard to get hold of now. Like the first generation.
it. Yeah, because
I-
people know. It's one of those like people don't talk about, but the people who know.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. And yeah, I think that'd be one that a lot of people would, if they're looking for premieres now, would love to try and get their hands on a on a Premiere One for sure.
Definitely.
Especially after this.
Yeah, for sure. We're just
Yeah,
We've
watch
got-
eBay
this is
now.
the problem. Sometimes we come on here, we start talking about things that are like, maybe a little bit less known, like, oh, go and get yourself a Premiere One. We've spoken a few times about the Hypervenom like 2.5, like the update, about like how good
Mhm.
that update is and things like that. And all we're doing is just sending people off to buy all the boots that we want.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Make it harder for ourselves.
Exactly.
There's some good questions in the chat.
Go for it, Andrew. What have we
Footloose
got?
Boots, some free kick tips, especially when filming for videos.
That's a great question.
Free kick tips.
Free kick tips,
Yeah.
especially when filming for videos.
So
Or
I
like-
always
go
go
ahead.
on. I was going to say I always have the same
No, go,
routine.
go.
So I will always try and So I've got a difference between if I'm filming a video or if I'm actually practicing, because believe it or not, although I don't really play much, half of my fun is genuinely practicing a technique and actually getting it consistent. So first and foremost is always the routine. Like, I always place the ball down in the exact same spot. I always take the same paces back. And I know this is really like boring stuff, but it is so essential
this is
to
good.
Yeah, but learning it's so essential to have a step by step of what you're going to do, because you're going to maximize your chance of achieving that same effect over and over again. For videos, time is of the essence. Like, you need to score that goal quicker because you want to move on to the next shot or the next video, whatever you're doing. So I always try and start with something I'm going to achieve that I think is relatively easy and progressively get harder the less time I have. Because if I spend all my time at the beginning trying to score in the world's smallest target that takes me like sometimes 20 minutes when I've only got 20 minutes on the pitch, then it will be pointless wasting all that time.
Yeah.
So first one I'd say is time management and technique, like practicing the same thing. And second of all, like, just it's similar to football boots. Find something that works for you. Like, there's not a right way to approach a ball. There's not a right way to kick it all the time for every single person. So just experiment. So if you're trying to curve it and get it over the wall, use a logo on the ball to place it where you want to kick it and try it. And if it works, do it again. If it doesn't work, change it slightly. That's what I would say.
Thank you very
Nice.
much. That's some great
That's
tips.
awesome. There's a nice follow-up from Proper Boots. As a fellow free kick clipper, do you find yourself getting frustrated if you're not hitting bangers? If so, how do you overcome that? Hate setting up and not getting good shots.
Very good and very relatable question. Well, I've had many meltdowns at the pitch when things have not gone my way, and I'm not talking like a anger. I'm talking like booting my balls over the fence and like throwing my boots, like genuinely having tantrums over not being able to score a free kick. So I relate.
Mm-hmm.
And more often than not, I normally call my friends, or more recently, I'll call my girlfriend. I'm like, I'm having an absolute howler. Like, what do I do? And she's like, just come back tomorrow. Just like chill. It's not the end of the world. And that's what I do, and I'm normally fine. I remember before I did my injury, I had probably the worst session of my life, where all I could say is it felt like someone had taken all the power out of my legs, and I couldn't kick it hard. I couldn't get whip on the ball. And it was because Puma had sent me, ironically, the new Future, and I really wanted to train so when I had them, I could wrap goal after goal. So I went the next day with the boots, and I was like, oh, sorry, I'll just try it, even though I've had an absolutely terrible session. And it was probably the best session I've ever had. And I think I scored it in the top corner within like 2 or 3 minutes in the tiny little target.
Wow. Yeah.
Just like, I don't know, just sometimes when you do something for so long, you overthink everything. And part of the reason I do everything is I say this to my friends now with my injury. If I was to give up everything I do, I would still go to my pitch every week and just take free kicks for an hour because I love it. Like, and as sad or as cool as that is, it's what I love.
That is not sad at all. That is awesome.
Again, you are in the right place.
Yes.
Good.
We are very welcoming bunch here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely understand that.
Perfect.
For sure.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Thanks.
Yeah. I like with regards to kind of like getting frustrated if you're not hitting bangers. I used to do that, particularly for my content. I still do a little bit, but I changed my approach because I do obviously do something very different to you, Cam. Like this wouldn't work for somebody who does what you do. But I used to spend a lot of time trying to hit these like perfect free kicks up in like the top corners and things like this, which one, I'm not very good at. And two, I eventually worked out like realistically for the content that I make, doing boot reviews and kind of showing a boot being tested actually doesn't matter. Like I don't have to hit these incredible free kicks like you do, because that's not the purpose of what I'm doing. The purpose is me to show me using the boots. So I can actually put into the video 5 free kicks of me battering the ball over the bar. I can miss. It doesn't matter. Like you just have to have a little bit of like, I don't know. I suppose it's a little bit of like confidence or bravado to be like, yeah, I missed.
Actually pull it off.
But I also did 2 videos. One recently on the new Predator, the Predator 25, the FT, and I stuck a ball in the top, the tiny top corner, and had it just ping all the way across into the other corner. Obviously, put that in like 4 times on slow mo. And then there's another video I did where I did like a testing of Temu products.
Yep.
And they had like a little top bins goal. And again, like randomly, first attempt, I just bammed it right into the top bin. But you can see how rare it was because I just lost my shit. I was just like, yes, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened. I am king. But like it still feels great, but I don't spend my time trying to do that anymore because it's not what my content's about, you know. I don't have to be yourself, and mainly because I don't need it, but also because I can't. So, you know.
Do you know what I will say though, like to that, because it's really nice to hear that, is with me doing what I've done for so long, I have, unless I score something genuinely crazy, I don't get that buzz, which I miss. Like, I'm such a perfectionist that I have to score a perfect goal, and by perfect I just mean stanch. Like it has to be for that final payoff, whether it's going in the target or. And I remember, and this. Sorry, I'll go on a side note for a story, and this was funny.
No.
Beginning of the year,
go for it. That's what this is about.
Yeah, like 1st or 2nd of January, I went to the pitch with 2 of my mates, and I wanted to recreate loads of these like challenge videos that I'm sure you guys have seen. It's like you rate your touch and then you finish. And bless my mates, they used to do my YouTube stuff with me back in the day, and we still casually play, but their legs can't hack it like I can. Like what I do is genuinely mental because I will repeat the same thing over and over and over. Cut a long story short, they were awful. They went home. I didn't have any videos. And I was like, well, I've got about 20 minutes left at the pitch. And all these kids had climbed over the fence and were at the other end. And where I am, because it's the only pitch in my area, a lot of the kids like know of me or will make comments, let's say. And like most of them are like lovely. But to me, I'm someone that completely overthinks things. And I will only hear or take the bad things, not the good things. I remember all these lads. Oh, I dropped my light. I remember all these lads were like... They were saying, I could hear them. They were like, "Oh, is that the lad that takes free kicks for a living? Is that the lad that does this, works with the footballers?" And they were like, "You can't be that good." And I'd literally just set up my top corner target, like, and the tiny little one. And I put the ball down, and I was sat behind the camera, just on the floor, and I was like, "I don't know if I want to do this because like, I feel a bit embarrassed now because they're all watching me." I never have these moments ever in life. But I was like, no, fuck this. Like, I can do this. First one, nailed it top bins, and they've all just like gasped and like gone, oh my god! And I've never felt so cool in my life. But I didn't even react. Like I did it. And I turned to the camera and I was like, well, I got to go home now. Like, that's me done. And I literally went straight home. So I missed that buzz.
That's fantastic.
Of, like, doing something and being like, yes, like that was sick. And that's not.
Well, what you have to be is like me. You have to just be generally crap, so that when it doesn't happen very often, and then when it happens, you can be excited.
Yeah, literally. It's nice that like I completely get your point, because another thing, when I was at Pro Direct and I did do a lot of the boot tests, when we would film the reviews, part of my DNA was like, I said to them, yes, we're reviewing the boots, but I wanted it to visually look a little bit more premium. And because we've got fantastic camera guys and team, like they can make it look beautiful. But I remember the first time I did a shoot, we tested what did I test? It was the Mercurial Vapor 14, the blueprint ones. And it was just after the Dragonfly colorway launched. And I remember I did like a penalty and I scuffed it and they were like, yeah, cool, move on to the next thing. And I was like, no, we're going to do that
Hold on
again.
a second. Yeah.
And I didn't realize at the time because it was like one of my first days. The guys that were filming it were like really senior in the video team, and I was probably a little bit disrespectful. And it's funny because we've like joked about it since, but I was so tunnel vision of like, no, I think where we can improve with these like boot tests on YouTube is they can actually visually be as good as they are informative. And part of my skill set is I can score good goals. So I took a lot of pride in the channel in like making sure that whether I did a skill, it was really clean. So it would be like 3 or 4 extra takes. Or if I did take some free kicks, it's like, let's just get it until I get one pretty top corner. Because the quality of the cameras, I felt it was fair to do it sort of justice with the skills.
I mean, if you think about it, that's kind of the reason you got brought on, right?
Well, yeah, like essentially.
It's not like you like, yeah, and I think, to your point, like, I wouldn't call it like perfection, but like more like, okay, no, seriously, we're a serious business. Let's take this seriously.
Yeah.
Like if they brought you on because like you're well known for scoring these great free kicks or like having this technique, then you should be showing off that technique when you're testing boots too.
Yeah, I like totally.
Absolutely, yeah. And like sorry, go on, Cam.
No, all I was going to say is to what you said. I do agree that like I said to them, I understand like we don't need to take 100 shots because at the end of the day, the review is about how good the boots are, not how good the goals are you score. For me, it was just purely from like looking at it from you've got a large audience, and if I'm going to be here for the long run, which the plan always was, I think just build on what I already do. So it's like merging the two audiences in a certain way. But I also completely agree with you as well, which goes against myself, James, about the whole that you don't need to score them because it's more just you're talking about how it feels to strike the ball, and no pair of boots is going to make you put it in the top corner magically, is it?
Yeah, but like it is a bit different because obviously, again, it's exactly what Andrew's saying. Your part of your skill set is the ability to do that, so you absolutely should maximize that. And especially with Pro Direct, where you do have these incredible camera crews and these guys that are really fantastic at it, you should absolutely maximize that. Whereas I don't go for like the top bins anymore, but what I do go for it, but I'm just I'm not too worried about if I hit it. But what I'm focused on is trying to make it visually look as nice as possible in like even if the ball's not going in that top bin, like I've got a really clean shot of the boots, of the motion of what's happening, because that's more my skill set, which sounds ridiculous for a boot reviewer, like that my skill set is actually the ability to create the visual of the review rather than actually put the ball in the top bin. But I agree, like if I was you, like, and I had your ability, then I would definitely be saying the same thing. Like, let's do this until it's right. Let's make it as good as we possibly can, especially when you've got a whole team. So yeah, absolute respect for that. Like I think that would have been mine and Andrew's approach to that. I think would have been like, hold on, no, let's do this right, shall we?
Yeah, I'm glad.
To a minor point, I have this thing where I have to finish the session on something good.
Yeah.
So
I'm the same.
So like here you have to rent pitches, and there's a pitch like 45 minutes away next to the ocean I go to because it doesn't get much snow during the winter. And I've run over my time several times because I'm just sitting there trying to get one last good shot or one last good touch.
Mm-hmm. It's got to be done.
So
no, it is the best to leave on something positive. Like it makes a huge difference, I think. So I tell you what we'll do is I'm going to take another question from what we've got here, and then one more question from the chat because Footloose Boots has dropped one in there, and because I don't want to keep you here all night.
I'm easy. I'm enjoying this. I'm easy.
Good. Well, you shouldn't say things like that. We'll be here all night. Like I think last week, Andrew and I were here for 2.5 hours
2
talking
hours.
to
Solid.
S2S Creations about how boots were built. Okay, so a question I got asked a couple of times was the Franken boot question. It's a question that like frequently comes up. Andrew and I did a whole episode on it. So if you could take any elements of any boot that's ever been made and you could mash them all together to create the perfect football boot, what would it be? And do bear in mind, this absolutely does not have to make sense. You can just pick elements and shove them together. I can't actually remember what me and Andrew created, but whatever we did not make logical sense. It doesn't have to. Just take all of your favorite things and put them together. Uppers, laces, insoles, like outsoles, different bits, front pods, back pods, whatever you want. What would your perfect Franken boot be?
So, this is great because many years ago, I actually had my Frankenstein boot mocked up by a company that I did like an interview with, and I'll have to dig it out and try and send it to you guys because it was
Please do.
exactly pitched like this. Yeah. And I'm going to try and remember what I put on there because what I put on there was perfect in my opinion. I'm pretty sure it had. So I know that the colorway was just like white and gold. White with gold swooshes or stripes, whatever the brand was, and a gold plate. That's me. Carbon fiber plate because visually I think it looks awesome, but also I love how responsive and snappy it is. And I genuinely think if you've worn a carbon fiber outsole and you go back to a speed boot that doesn't have it, you do feel a difference. Whether it's psychological or not, I don't know, but you just do feel a bit snappier. The upper, I'm not saying it because I've got it here. It's just because I do want to talk about it. I've been dying to talk about it. I think the Flyknit on the first Superfly was the best Flyknit they've ever done. And it was only on this colorway because of how exposed it was. They didn't put that like extra layer on, which they did on some of the like printed colors. Like that Flyknit and the Brio cables were just perfect. The Brio cables, really felt locked in, pulling them tight. I don't think I'd have a collar. I think I would keep it low cut. Even though I prefer wearing a collar, I think I prefer the silhouette of a low cut boot. What else? I'd have the Hypervenom AccuFoam pods on the upper for striking, just because they were fantastic. I'm pretty sure. I've just broken my memory. I'm pretty sure in the mock-up that I did make, I had Adidas Boost in the sole because that was a thing back in the day. Would not have that now.
Nice.
It was cool. And what's the last thing I'd have? I'd probably take the comfort and fit of a Skechers boot, the SKX, and just have it based around that.
Just based around that shape of the boot.
That, yeah, it's just so comfortable and so snug. Like I remember when I put on I think it was the Diamond Ice colorway, the white and blue ones, and I wore them in the snow in Munich, and it was the best. Yeah, it visually looked unbelievable. And we had a session outside in the morning where it was like I did like the play test part, and then the second part was we had Harry Kane for 7 minutes. Like it was so in and out.
Oh wow!
But I've never performed so well in a pair of boots so quickly, and you know that the old saying like "look good, you feel good." Look good, you feel good. Play good.
Yeah.
Is it? It was that, and they just fit a dream.
Beautiful. That is a serious Franken boot, and yet it is hard. It is hard to argue with that for sure. Like love that. I honestly can't remember what Andrew and I did, but we did a whole episode. One of our early episodes. It would have been like episode 2 or 3. Like this is I think this is episode 49 of the podcast, and I think we did it episode 2 or 3.
Nice.
So over in the chat, I think this is a really interesting question and something that we probably won't have the chance to ask anybody else ever, so we should definitely get it to you.
Okay.
Does Cam have any exercises / core exercises that would help with kind of free kicks? I always seem to hurt myself doing them. Is that a technique thing, or is there a particular like strength building that you do to kind of help yourself not get injured when you are, because you've said you're doing like this same action over and over and over again. And I know that if I was to do that, I'd pull my groin 100% because I do it all the time. So like, what do you do to kind of keep your body in shape to be able to do that?
You guys and the viewers are going to be very disappointed and probably angry with me because I do and have done nothing for my whole life. I used to, after football training, when I was going into men's football, we used to stay behind and practice free kicks, and that's how it all started for me. I started filming it 1 week because I was quite good. I promise you, cross my heart, never ever do I warm up. My warm up is slinging a ball 50 yards with my mate across the pitch. I promise you. Or going to the penalty spot and slapping penalties. So the sensible answer is do your stretches. One thing that these lads told me this recently, and it was before I got injured, ironically. They said to me, because they asked me the same question, they couldn't wrap their head around genuinely how I do what I do. And I don't, it's not I don't warm up because I'm like, oh, I'm better than it. I think the honest answer is I think I've built such a tolerance, thankfully, in my left knee and my left ankle, just planting my foot and being on Astro all the time. I must have just built up that resistance to that force and impact all the time. But they said to me one thing that they know causes injuries with lots of their friends is lifting heavy weights in the gym. And it's something I'd never thought about. And I go to the gym and I keep fit and whatever, but I'm not I don't train my legs massively. If I do, it's not like pushing myself trying to get calves like Grealish and quads like Traore. It's like just a gentle workout to keep everything in check. But no, like the sensible side of me, which I will be doing when I come back from my injury 100%, is stretch properly. And when you do get to a point in a session, for me it's at the 3-4 hour mark, probably not the 30-40 minute mark, but when you do start to feel a bit, okay, it's starting to feel a bit of resistance there, just call it a day. Go and cool down, come back in a few days.
Of course, after that one last good free kick.
Yeah,
after
you've hit that one
last good free kick, I have stayed at the pitch for literally a good extra hour or two to finish on it. Yeah.
But it's funny because like other days you hit one and you're like, that's good enough. All right.
Yep.
I'm out.
Yep.
And then the other days you're just like, no, that's not perfect. Like, yeah, that would be fine for other people, but I can do this better.
Do you know what I have so many times, and this is going to crack you boys up? There's sometimes, for example, I'll be wearing my United shirt and I'll be like, if I don't get this in, United are going to lose today. So I will stay there until I get that ball in that target. And or there's things like, I'll meet Ronaldo if I get this in. And I'll just put that little wager on myself. And I'll stay at the pitch as long as I need to get it done. Because I'm like, well, if it happens, it's because I did that.
Because he hit the free kick. Love that.
Exactly.
Absolutely love that. Justin has basically condensed your whole session prep down into a line. It says Cam chugs a beer, walks on the field, scores a 10 out of 10 free kick.
Literally, minus the beer. Spot on.
Pretty good. Fantastic, love that. Okay, I will ask you one more question. I think we will call that today, so that we don't go too late. So, question would be: is there a boot that's missing from your collection? You've got 250, 300 pairs. You've obviously, I've seen you've broken out. You've got the original kind of R9 Mercurials, things like this. You have an incredible collection of boots. What is the one that is missing? What's the Grail boot, the unicorn boot that you do not have?
I think the one boot that I'm missing out on that I really want is, surprise, surprise, a Ronaldo boot. It's probably his Vapor 9 Ballon d'Or boot. White with the gold sole plate, SG plate. And prior to that, it was the rare gold, but I managed to pick them up maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And I always wanted the white and gold ones. And I
those Vapor 9s, is there only like 100 of those or something?
100, yeah. And I got to hold them and have them in person at Pro Direct because the guy there had 2 pairs. So he literally had 1/50th of the world's collection. And one of them was signed by Ronaldo, because of course it was. and they are
Oh
just
my god.
yeah, they're just stunning in person. So they're one that I would love. But I think financially, not looking likely.
That's always the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
What about you, Andrew? Do you have one that's a missing
I
unicorn?
didn't bring the one in here that I had
The
been
Hummel.
searching for this one pair of Hummel boots for like 15 years. And
Wow.
I finally got it the other day. You know what? I'm gonna go grab it real quick.
I will discuss
Give me a
mine,
second.
and you can grab them. So yeah, Andrew has literally been searching for these boots for about 15 years,
Right.
and ended up with a pair. They weren't his size, and then had to get another pair. Like, it's a whole thing. He'll tell you when he comes back. I think for me, it's probably, again, it would be similar to you. There's only 100 pairs of these, and it would be the Alex Morgan Phantom Venom. I really want a pair of the Alex Morgan Phantom Venoms.
Yeah.
And the annoying thing is I have had the opportunity to buy them twice, but as with you, financially, it just wasn't something that I could do at the time. The second time I had a chance to buy them, if I'd have had the opportunity right now, I probably could have justified it. I could have been
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, financially I can buy them. But at the time, it just wasn't an option. So I think that would probably be my answer, would be the Alex Morgan Phantom Venoms would be my
Wicked.
missing grail or unicorn that I don't actually think I'll be able to get hold of. Because like you, there's only 100 pairs of those. Andrew, the grails, please show them. Look at
These
those.
Hummels.
They're stunning.
Look at those.
Look at the
Wow.
laser detailing. It's
That's
laser
wicked.
etched leather. Yeah.
So
So basically, I talked to the designer of these a little bit. He designs running shoes now. And so in 2023, he sent me some samples. I bought some of the samples, but they're too big. So I was like, okay, at least I've got them. This is the best it'll ever get. And then I was messing around on Vinted, Denmark, incidentally, and these popped up in my size. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, wait, it's in Polish, so they're at Vinted Poland. And so I've got a buddy in Germany who contacted his relatives in Poland who got these for me,
No
sent to
way.
his house, and then sent to me. And they were 20 euros.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So 15 years trying to track this boot down, and then I ended up with shipping and everything, ended up being like 100. But yeah,
Can I
Just
throw
amazing.
a question to you two, which I guess we can all answer?
Yeah,
You may,
absolutely.
of course. Of course.
And I think you might have just answered it yourself, but what is the best pickup you've had in terms of a cheap deal?
This is interesting, actually, because Andrew and I, again, we did a whole episode on this probably a couple of months ago, where the challenge was the best boots you could find for $50. So we had a month to find it, and they could be used, anything at all, like as long as, the idea was to be as good condition as possible and to find the best boots we could for €50. Because we were trying to basically push this idea that you don't have to go out and spend €300 on a pair of boots. It's better for you, it could be better for the environment. It's generally a better idea to go and find something that is used. So yeah, that was something we did. But to answer your question, best cheap pickup, it's probably what I brought these two along with me today just because I was looking for another. So I was looking for these boots to have just available. So I adore the fact that I have these. So the Rose Lavelle New Balance Tequilas, only made in her size, very, very, very difficult to get hold of. So I brought those. But while I was looking for those, I had two other pairs, and I paid, I would say, less than €30 for both of these boots. And so I have these, which are an unreleased Sadio Mane Furon. So these were supposed to be released for the Champions League final. He was supposed to wear them. So you can see they've got all of this on the front, which the regular release didn't have. And I found them on eBay. and they're essentially, like say, samples that he was supposed to have, but he's so superstitious about his boots that he never wore them. So yeah, I found those for about €30. There might be something else, but these are right in front of me, so I'm like, this just makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And then, funnily enough, from exactly the same seller, a little bit before that, I got these, which were the Sadio Mane Magum boots. So these were the samples again. So this is pair number 1. So it has like number 1 of 4 or 5. But after some research and kind of looking into it through various channels and different things, I think this is the 4th or 5th pair of number 1s. So there's like, it says there's 405 pairs, and my pair is number 1 of 405, but there's 5 pairs that are all labeled number 1 for various reasons. Like he had a pair, there was a pair used for a photo shoot in Africa, which is these in Senegal, and then there's a couple of other pairs that have got kind of put around for promotional purposes. I think like Soccer Bible might have a pair, and they were all numbered number 1. But yeah, I'd say I paid about €30 each for both of those from eBay, just finds, which are pretty cool. And because they were right in front of me, I couldn't think of anything else. And Andrew, what are yours?
Yeah, it's got to be these, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, giving you a unicorn and then finding out they're only €20. I got them in, and I was like, because one of the great things about like loving random old boots is there's a very low chance that they've been faked. Because who else is looking for these? Honestly,
yeah, who's faking those?
Who's gonna fake these? So yeah, it's got to be these.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else off some. It's all kind of. I got some other Pro Customs. I have a pair of Nikita Paris Pro Customs that I think I paid maybe €50 or €60 for, and my Kira Walsh GX1s you tried. They were more like €100 though. They were a little bit more expensive. But yeah, those Kira Walsh GX1s, I will die on this hill that they are the best GX1s that have ever existed, because her customizations on that boot just make it next level. It's unbelievable, and they fit me. So good times for all. What was yours, Cam? What was your best cheap find?
I've got 2. I've got the first one. My dad used to live in Swindon, next to the Designer Outlet Village, where Nike had a factory store, and I would always go in there and try and pick stuff up. And when Wayne Rooney scored his 250th Prem goal for United and got those white and red Hypervenoms, they were on the back shelf.
Ones, yeah.
So
What?
I picked them up for £68, and they had about 10 pairs. And because I was only 20, 21, I didn't have much money, I only bought a pair for me and my mate. My mate wore his. I obviously kept mine brand new. But yeah, I think they're worth a good $350 now. So I wish I cleared them up. But they had about 10 or 15 pairs in all sizes. That's pair number 1. But pair number 2, which I think is just mental. A friend of mine called Jack Downer, also known as Street Panner online. He's a panner player. He was in Amsterdam for a tournament, and I was just like watching his story, like flicking through Insta, and saw his story pop up, and he found an old like soccer sports shop, just a random little corner store, and he took a picture of it because I think his mate had bought some like old F50s, and it was just like a white crate filled with like boots, just completely like untied, and it said €20 each. And I zoomed in, and there was a pair of white and burgundy Adipures, and I was like, and they had the burrito style tongue, and I was like, can you please go in there and like get them for me? And he was like, well, I've got to go to this tournament, like I can't. But he gave me the number, or he gave the guy who worked at the shop my number. We spoke. He shipped them to me for €5. €25 I paid for them, and they were brand new K leather. I've still got them, and I refuse to get rid of them because I think they're and they're in a size UK 9, so like perfect size. Yeah, and I think what a sick story.
I love both of your stories on that, because the first one being, I was literally like, so Justin in the chat here, Texas Cleat Collector, I mentioned obviously the Alex Morgan boots, and his comment was he thought I would say those Rooney boots, because those are like, I'm a huge Wayne Rooney fan, and those Rooney boots would also be right up there as a grail boot of mine, like something I really want to get hold of. So you said that, and then on top of that, I think I know where that store is in Amsterdam. So I used to
Really?
live in Amsterdam, and I bought my pair of Predator LZ1s from that store. I am pretty
No
sure I know
way.
where that store is.
It's just like,
Like,
a proper wacky store from memory, and I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure his mate bought some F50, the original Messi Chameleon ones, again for €20. But this was in like
That's mad.
2021. I think it was just after COVID, so it was like, to get that is
Everybody's gonna be like furiously looking
Yeah,
for
everyone's
this store.
searching
Yeah,
for it
yeah.
now. Justin
Really
says
cool.
he won a Predator 30 in a raffle. So he paid $30 and won a Predator 30.
And
Which
he
is
didn't
pretty
even
good going.
spell the damn team's name right either. It was like from Huddersfield or something. And he's like Hudsfield or whatever it's spelled. And the guy was like,
Sure.
Huddersfield? And he was like, yeah,
Whatever.
sure, just put it down for that. And then he won.
And then Clippy says he found a Hypervenom transform, so that's a pretty good find for cheap for sure. There we go. Where Hibernian or something. That's what Justin's
it was like Hibernian or something.
Hibernian or something. Cool. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Cam, today. It's been an absolute
Thank
pleasure
you.
to talk to you.
Yeah,
and
thank you so
some
much.
really, really great insights there. If you ever want to come back on, talk boots with us,
Yeah,
you are
always
welcome anytime.
That's right.
I realize right now you're a little bit kind of laid up with the knee, etc. So if you feel the need to get into the community, oh man, oh man, sorry, I keep saying knee, it's the Achilles, isn't it?
Yes.
But yeah, so if you ever feel the need to keep connected with the community, with the boots and all that kind of stuff, you want to chat some, let us know. You are welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime, my friend. That has been an absolute
Greatly
delight.
appreciated.
So, of course, I'm assuming the majority of people watching, and especially in the live, are already following Cam, Power and Precision, and at the Boot Collection on Instagram as well. Please go drop him a subscribe, a follow, send him all the love, and thank you for coming on today. Of course, you can find Andrew at Lockhart Boot Blog on all of the socials and his blog itself, lockhartbootblog.com, and you are here on the Boot Wizard YouTube channel. If you are still watching this after an hour and a half and you haven't hit the like button and you are not subscribed, what are you doing? Hit that like button, get subscribed, and if you do want to become a Boot Wizard member, you can do so with the links that are around. You can help support the channel. You get massive discounts off grip socks, and you also get early access to all of my videos. A few members in the chat tonight. We had Justin, we had Andrew, we had Dr. Astute, we had Alex Martinez, Chris's Footy Kicks, all members, all in the chat. Thank you very much, guys. I love you dearly. But I think that is all from us today. So thank you very much indeed. And yeah, we'll see you again next week. Cheerio.
Cheerio.